Blue ball. He tapped it on his lips again and said, blue ball. And on the other side of the observation room, looking through a one-way mirror, we heard Jarell speak for the first time. Corey and I held each other, tears streaming down our faces, hope and faith blooming in our hearts. Jarell was 4 years old, and he hadn't spoken a word. He cried a lot, and he yelled, and he screamed, and he threw spit bubbles. He blew spit bubbles on the floor and would just let them drip and make spit bubble castles. And we knew that there was something more for him. We didn't want to just take the label, the diagnosis of autism, and just leave it there, to let it define who he could become, the quality of his life. We didn't want to accept that. We accepted the diagnosis and all of the treatments that needed to come with it, sensory integration, the fact that pain, that sound caused him pain, that things that were too scratchy just really affected him more than anything. But more than anything, back in 2003, 2004, we opened ourselves up to a possibility that Jarell could live life on his own terms, that he could fall in love, find work that he wanted to do, that he was good at, and live his life wherever he wanted to, and have a freedom of movement. That's what we wanted for our son, even at 3 and 4 years old, nonverbal, hand flapping, everything that you would expect from someone with autism. But yet slowly we started to find alternative treatments and therapies. Now, conventional doctors didn't really support us. We said, what about this gluten-free diet? What happens when we take dairy and gluten out of his diet? I read a study that said that this really affects kids on the spectrum and helps them think clearly. And the doctor said to us, I feel sorry for parents like you that get their false hopes up thinking that their kids are going to be anything other than what they are. And as I held a baby Maya rocking back and forth, as this doctor is telling me to not believe in my son, to not believe that there was something else possible for him, I resolved in that moment to say, no one gets to define who he gets to be. No one. And so we set about creating the conditions for well-being in his life. We did try that gluten-free diet and that dairy-free diet, because up to that point, he was only eating baked beans, macaroni and cheese, and Nutri-Grain bars. And that's it. And Corey got the idea to try to supplement that with fresh fruits and vegetables and dietary, iron supplements and things in a goop that we called Schlum. It was a smoothie, but it was a nasty brown color that we put in an opaque sippy cup so he wouldn't know that it was a nasty brown goo. But he'd slurp it down with his Nutri-Grain bar in the morning, and he was a happy camper. But we were making sure that he had omega-3s and iron and all the vitamins he needed so his brain could develop. We tried craniosacral body work and to relieve his central nervous system that was so hyperactive, to touch, to sound, to light, to soothe that. And I had a beautiful practitioner from my community who stepped forward and said, I think this can help him. Let me try. And we said yes. We tried Reiki, energy work. We, made available everything that could support his well-being. We didn't tell him that the reason why he was different from his sister, why she wasn't having extreme reactions to her environment, was called autism. We didn't tell him that until he was 11. He was going into junior high and he was very frustrated, wondering why Maya seemed to be so calm and he wasn't. And so we finally sat down and had a conversation with him. And we laid it out for him in a way that he felt empowered to take it on, right? To say, I have this, but it doesn't have me. And that was the beginning of him being able to, and us allowing him to forge his own path, to make his own way. And so this project is an outpicturing of the joy that he brings in the world. One of our neighbors, who is a documentary filmmaker, was in between work. Oprah had just laid him off. And he was looking for a project to do to keep him busy as he went to find other work. And he wanted to tell Jarell's story. And so this video is my neighbor, Ryan Myers, creating an avenue for people to understand inside of the mind of my son. And I'm grateful for that.
Feeling I think it's safe to say that we have the most awesome church ever. No competition.
We're about to pass the baskets. As you've been given, as we've been given, so we give.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more tips and tools on how to be a spiritual vixen, go on over to my website, MaureenMuldoon.com, and you can sign up for my love notes. Until then, I'm Maureen Muldoon, the spiritual vixen, reminding you to love more, fear less, and don't forget to laugh.